Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'm going to tell you why everyone needs to go ahead and accept that Colin Kaepernick's NFL career is done.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'm going to say something about LeBron James that is so stunning, even I can't believe I'm going to say it. Speak for yourself. It starts right now.
You're going to predict the Pacers win the series, hopefully?
You know what?
I can't.
Hope.
Pacers win tonight, changes everything.
All right, hello and welcome. Join us today is Colin's co-host on The Herd, Christine Leahy, and making his Speak for Yourself debut is Trent Dilfer, the former Super Bowl champ. He has a new segment called Soul and Science, and it debuts today on NFL Network. But we start with the latest report out of New England. Adam Schefter says Tom Brady has not committed to playing this season for the Patriots. Other reports have said Brady will skip the team's off-season training program, and some people are saying he might retire. Check Brady's Instagram, and you'll see he's literally as far from a football field as you can possibly get. In the Middle East, riding camels. Cowherd, any chance Brady actually retires?
You know, I would say no. I mean, he was the MVP, and the year before the reigning MVP, but Tom actually is in a weird spot. So Belichick discovered him and refined him. And I always felt there was this sense, until the Atlanta Super Bowl win, people were always like, you know, Tom's a little bit of a system quarterback. Today's different. Now he's got his method, TB12. They have no backup plan at quarterback. Belichick is being questioned by multiple players. Tom actually, for the first time, has a little leverage on Bill. Socially, in the locker room, brand. Isn't this what he's worked for his entire career? And he's still great.
Well, the question is, any chance Brady retires? And I would say 10, 15%, maybe as high as 20% chance he retires, because clearly, if you watch Tom versus Time, Giselle made it quite clear, Tom wants to have fun and be respected. And Belichick's not fun, and he's not much on the respect deal. So, and again, I go back to, and I've been beating this ever since February, that Malcolm Butler decision and not explaining it. You can make the decision, but damn it, you owe your players and your ownership an explanation. I just think Brady, Gronkowski, Amendola, everybody's like, man, we sacrificed so much and we bought in so much to everything you preach, Bill, and then you pull this and you don't even explain it. So, yeah, I think there's a chance he could retire.
I think, let's call it 25, because my math isn't very good and I want to break this up. If there's a 25% chance he retires, I think 5% of it's the football side, which you just mentioned. Over time it wears on you. But the one thing about the Patriots is they don't love Bill, but they do fall in line with Bill. And eventually they get through the offseason of complaining and, you know, oh, woe is me. Let's get back, fall in line, and we know we have a chance to win a championship. I look at this differently. Tom's kids are 10, 8, and 5. And you know, we all know this, that I have kids, that when you play football, when they're pooping and all you're doing is feeding them, when you're the caretaker, man, football can be 95% of your life. And you live in this bucket, it's football, football, football. And then you start becoming a cop a little bit, where you got to police them a little bit. Now they eat up 15, 20% of your life as a football player. Well, now he's coaching them, life coaching them in sports. 10, 8, now they eat up 50, 60, 70% of your life. And Tom cares about being a good dad. He cares about being a good husband. It takes a lot out of his soul to invest in being this type of player all the time. And I think if he retires, it's 5% this stuff, the reports today and all the arguments we've made. I think it's the bulk of it would be, you know what? I've done my thing for so long. I've eaten up 95% of the pie. It's time for me to give of myself to my kids, because they deserve it. Because I'm not just a caretaker anymore. I'm not just a cop anymore. I'm coaching them in life. And if I'm investing as much as I'm investing into me and the Patriots, it's taken away from them. I know all of us that played for a long time, once our kids hit that critical mass point where you wake up one day and you're like, oh my gosh, it needs to be about them, not about me anymore. And I think he's going to face that. He's either faced it already or he's facing it here in the next year or two.
I think that he and some of the Patriots are trying to take a stand right now. And if you look at what Rob Gronkowski is doing, he's currently in a pool somewhere with a supermodel. He's not at workouts either. And I think that they actually have some leverage, as you said, right now. And when you're in a negotiation with someone, you're not going to get what you want unless you really are willing to walk away. Like, think about it. Any job interview you're going on, you have to be willing maybe even just a little bit to say, no, I don't want to. And I think that thought probably really is going through Tom Brady's mind right now. He does have a lot of other things that he's thinking about, and his kids are certainly one of them. He's in Qatar right now with Giselle riding camels. He's got a lot of business things that he's working on. So he can walk away, and I think he's playing hard to get the respect that he feels like he deserves from Bill Belichick. He's been falling in line for so long. And now I think he's ready to say, okay, I've been here, I've done that. You need to respect me and not treat me just like one of the guys. I also thought there was something interesting that came out during Deflategate when Bill Belichick was asked about Tom and the way that he uses his balls. And Belichick said Tom's personal preference on his footballs are something he can talk about in much better detail than I can possibly provide. And that seems pretty innocent, but if you look deeper into it, I think it was Belichick not really standing up for Tom Brady in that moment, where he could have said, I support him, whatever he did, he needs to get back out there, this is not right. And I think from then on, there's a chance that Brady felt like he wasn't being respected or Belichick wasn't having his back as much as it was reciprocated.
Well, let me just throw this out there. There's a lot of different reports that the Garoppolo thing was hovering. And at some point, Kraft, for the first time ever with Bill, said, Bill, move him. We're not moving Tom. Tom's made my net worth $400 million more. If that was the case, and I wasn't there to report it, that Tom had concern with Garoppolo, Kraft stepped in and moved him. Doesn't Tom owe Kraft a solid year to find the next guy? Because you would basically be saying, hey, Bob, you would have probably been pretty good without me. You did me a solid, and now I'm leaving. You'd put Bob Kraft. But, you've made Bob some money. Bob did you a solid. I mean, I don't know.
I think you're making a great point, but I also think maybe Tom is doing this at the behest of Robert Kraft. Because again, Robert Kraft is on the record. Bill didn't explain the Malcolm Butler decision to me either. And so when you create Frankenstein, it's hard to get him back on that table. And Tom Brady's probably the only guy that has the leverage to stand up to Belichick and not have the public just go completely off. And so he may be doing Bob Kraft a favor because Belichick, to me, again, that Butler decision, when everybody goes all in on winning the Super Bowl and they make all kinds of sacrifices, and again, you can make that decision, but you do owe us an explanation. And Trent, I like your point and Christine's point in terms of just understanding relationships. And football, there's a relationship with football. And people fall out of love with football. Once you leave high school, it's just a process of falling out of love with football. And it's different triggers for other people. But that's what I think happened with the Malcolm Butler. It accelerated things like, damn, I do all of this and we do all of this. And we get to the biggest game.
What makes hard things look so easy? People think they're easy.
Yeah.
It's flipping hard. What he has done, what he has sacrificed, what he does day in and day out is brutal. It takes a toll, and there's definitely a physical and mental fatigue that goes with it.
When you watch Tom versus Tom, did you have any takeaway on that? I knew.
I was hoping the fan would appreciate his investment because we've all got to sit back and appreciate it, right? Even those of us that played, like it's greatness every time he steps on the field. He makes such difficult things look so easy. I was hoping the fan got to get a look inside of the sacrifices he makes so they can enjoy Sunday and so they can see something so difficult look so easy. That was my takeaway. Yeah. Nothing surprised me because I kind of know his story and I know the family. But I was like, gosh, I hope people are getting, instead of just geeking out or you get to watch Tom Brady with his family, I hope you're really appreciating what he's put into this.
And my takeaway was it was so intense. Yeah. It was a little shocking to me that, literally just hours and smoothie film that I was sitting there thinking, there is a burnout to that.
Absolutely.
That kind of obsessive detail has as you say, it's got an expiration date.
Yeah. It's a process, and it's just like the first thing someone does in a relationship that raises an eyebrow begins the process of eventually.
I think it also does say a lot, though, that I think there's a revolt going on because Rob Gronkowski is also working out with Alex Guerrero, who's working out with Tom Brady. We know Belichick's not a fan of that. And look at the two guys who aren't at voluntary workouts right now.
There's revolts, I will say, there's revolts in every locker room right now.
Not led by Tom Brady. There's a new boss in town at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he deals in bacon. It's the Bacon Boss Burger, featuring bacon 3 different ways and a blanket of white cheese sauce. And he's joined by other new favorites like the smothered cheesesteak quesadilla, sweet chili shrimp, and Alaska cod classic. All pair perfectly with a Sam 76, a fruity ale with the crisp finish of a lager. Hurry in today and try them all before they're gone at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports, available for a limited time while supplies last. Please drink responsibly.
All right, welcome back. We're now joined by current UFC light heavyweight champ, Ultimate Fighter coach Daniel Cormier. First question, you've been a fighter, and now you had to coach. What's tougher?
Fighting is tougher. You know, when you're coaching, you're kind of just trying to walk these guys through what they need to do in order to prepare for a fight. We were fighting twice a week, sometimes 4 fights towards the end. So you just try to walk these guys through getting prepared and trying to give them good advice without being too emotional in the corner.
Daniel, you're also signed up to be a wrestling coach, a high school wrestling coach. What's that about?
I just got the job at Gilroy High School. It's my hometown. The number 12 ranked team in the country. They needed a coach. The coach got a different job, and I was like, man, I live here. It'll help my son. There's a lot of great wrestling there. And now I have a wrestling club in San Jose, and also I'm the head wrestling coach at Gilroy High School, the Mustangs.
He'll be the highest paid high school wrestling coach in America.
I make nothing, Colin. I make nothing.
Well,
I make money. I make enough money,
Right,
yeah.
We've also got to talk to you about your potential title fight with Brock Lesnar and what you said last week about it. You said that if you fought Lesnar, they'd have to, quote, back up the Brinks truck to your home because you would make truckloads of money on that fight. There's no question about that. But there are questions about Lesnar, who was suspended after testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Do you think fans should embrace Brock's return?
You see, so this one's a little bit different, right? Because on the one end, the guy that beat me last summer failed too for a drug suspension. Do I want fans to embrace him? Both of these guys equal a lot of money, Jones and Brock Lesnar. I think we can't cheat the sport. Right? We can't cheat the sport regardless of the amount of money you should make. But once these guys, both of them, served their suspension, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to continue making a living.
Brock's a wrestler, too. Is he a good matchup for you?
I mean, I think I would do okay because he's a big, strong guy, tough guy, hard to fight. But style-wise, that's why I'm fighting these heavyweights. You know, I feel like I would do well against Stipe Miocic, and I feel I would do well against Lesnar. If this was a guy like a bad matchup, Jones, he's beaten me twice. He kicks a lot. I haven't been able to figure him out. These guys don't do that. They wrestle and they box, and I'm okay in those situations.
What should UFC do with Conor McGregor?
Well, I mean, Conor McGregor is going to be punished because of what he did, and the UFC doesn't have to do it because these guys are going to sue him. The fighters are going to sue him. He's going to lose some money. Jason, you and I talked about this a little bit last week. But the UFC has to do something. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be. You suspend Conor McGregor for a year. To the general public, it'll be like, oh, God, they took a stand. But does it really, truly help Conor? Is it really a punishment? I mean, he hasn't fought
doesn't help
the UFC for 18 months anyway. It doesn't help the organization for sure because he's the biggest star in the company.
Should we be worried about Daniel Cormier? Conor McGregor won 2 belts, 2 divisions, and went crazy.
Yeah.
If you beat Miocic, 2 belts, are you going to go crazy?
I told Khabib Nurmagomedov when I walk in the gym after I get 2 titles, don't even look me directly in the eye. I said, when y'all shake my hand, put your head down because I'm slapping everybody. I said, if I'm the champ at heavyweight and light heavyweight, nobody can tell me nothing. Of course I'm going crazy, Jason. Of course. I'm not even going to pretend I'm not going to go crazy.
Plus, you're married now, so all that marriage stress, you're going to be combustible.
I will be able to be a dominant male anytime I'm around any other men. I'll be like, I am the heavyweight and light heavyweight champ of the UFC. You look me in the face, I'm smacking him.
Well, I won't be looking you in the face. Welcome back. Joining us now is Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard and NBA champion / LeBron defender Richard Jefferson. All right, to the king, who finds himself in a position he's never been in, down 0-1 in the first round of the NBA playoffs. But the biggest loss might be the affection of the man who loves him most, Colin Cowherd. On the herd today, Cowherd said that he's actually more excited about watching 76ers rookie Ben Simmons. Then he said the NBA doesn't need LeBron anymore. So, Colin, America wants to know, did someone kidnap the real Colin Cowherd? And if so, who the hell are you?
I am a realist. I still think he's a remarkable talent, but we've got a dynasty, Golden State, and a rival to the dynasty, Houston. We have 25 good players under 25 years old. LeBron is still a dynamic player, but I don't believe this league is beholden to him because we have a player that I think in the last 15 years is the next Magic/LeBron, Ben Simmons. And Saturday I woke up and I cared where Ben Simmons was. I always woke up for a decade. When's LeBron playing? And I am more interested in watching Ben Simmons tomorrow night than LeBron tonight. And I can't explain it. It's a gut instinct. But I am fascinated by him, and I say that as somebody who loves LeBron.
There's parts of your argument that I agree with. I don't think the league is dependent upon LeBron James, and particularly not the way that the league was dependent upon Michael Jordan. LeBron James, he may catch Michael as the GOAT, maybe, but he'll never catch Michael in terms of penetration and pervasiveness, in terms of popularity as a sports icon, the way that Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. LeBron never became that kind of must-see TV as those two superstars. And so I think you're talking about Ben Simmons, but I think most of America, the guy that really is driving the NBA a bit more, to me, is Steph Curry. His style of play has overtaken the NBA. He's been leading in jersey sales for the last 3 or 4 years. He's kind of the man that kids are attracted to, and I think the Golden State dynasty is a bit more of an interesting narrative than where's LeBron going to play next.
Go ahead, LeBron defender.
That's what I'm saying. I've been doing shows all day. I don't know how I became the LeBron defender. I used to have to defend him in games, and now I'm defending him on television. Man, I think you guys couldn't be any more wrong. And I say this from a standpoint of like, yes, Ben is the next must-see guy, right? I think people want to see what he's going to do. But I dare someone to show me a stat line that he's going to have that's better than what LeBron has done at any point in time in his career.
Let me ask you. You can't find a stat line where Magic compares to Michael.
Yeah.
But I thought there were a lot of times Magic was just as interesting as Michael.
100%. But you wanted to see how important he is? There are billboards going up by random fans in random cities begging LeBron to show up. That's another, we could just add that to another thing that's never been done, never been seen. Fans, everyone, come play in Philly, come play in LA, stay here in Cleveland. The impact that he has the minute he walks into a building, the minute he walks in, there are certain people that have that it factor. They have it, there's musicians that have it, there's actors that have it. And he is one of those athletes. And you know, there are other ones, Kobe had it, MJ had it, Magic had it. The minute Magic walks into a building, all eyes are on Magic. And it's the same with Bron. And I think people, like you saw the stat line up there, he hadn't lost a first round game in 20, he'd won 21 straight first round games. Like these are things that we have become numb to.
Okay, what if he loses tonight, Chris?
If he loses tonight and they lose this series, it shows that what I've been saying all year, he was great this year, but he's not the same LeBron he was 4 or 5 years ago because defensively, he can't impact the game. I'll give you this. For the first time since Derrick Rose got injured in 2011, if LeBron doesn't make the finals, there's a viable second option in the East, and that's Philadelphia. Anyone else in the East, we don't want to see. If it's Philadelphia in the finals, we'll be fine.
Young team taking on a dynasty.
Exactly. However, here's the ultimate question. Is there another player or storyline in the NBA right now that we can talk about all day, every day?
Okay.
No. LeBron dominates undisputed. He dominates first things first. He dominates the herd.
I thought I dominated the herd.
The other channel shows. We talk about LeBron constantly. There is not another player or storyline that we can do that with right now.
I agree with your point. In terms of studio debate shows, LeBron is king. But I think Michael Jordan and even Magic and Larry, far more important to the success of the NBA than LeBron James. And so I think there's like a studio debate show that LeBron, if he disappears, like that industry may just blow up. But with sports fans, I just don't think it matters that much.
Because of the time, though? You needed Magic and Bird to revive the league. Jordan took it to another
I
level.
want to ask you this. Even if Cleveland wins tonight, you've been saying this all year, they're a flawed team. They can't stop anybody. They dominate Toronto, and Toronto still scores 115 a game. If LeBron loses tonight, that series is over. Okay.
I would never go there.
I
would never go
You
there.
really think
I would never go
over.
there.
I can't
Not
say
at
it.
two.
Not-
It's the Pacers. I'm from Indianapolis. I'm a Pacer fan. And look, man, the guy was down 3-1 to the Golden State dynasty. And you don't poke the bear. He can erupt at any time. But so I'm going to need 3-1 before I say it's over, or 3-0.
Okay, so if that happens, I think the LeBron magic fades pretty quick. We've got a dynasty and a rivalry and Simmons.
Well,
there's some good storylines out there.
But you talk about the dynasty. Those guys are starting to break down. You look at Golden State. Now you have a bunch of those guys that have played in a lot of games, that have played in a lot of intense playoff series. Steph has been banged up. KD missed time. Clay missed time. They have tons of those dynasty windows. We talk about the Boston Celtics Big Three. They went to one final. They went to two finals and won one. The Detroit Pistons dynasty, they went to 5 straight conference finals, but only won one championship. So yes, they might have a dynasty, but those dynasties are short-lived. What LeBron has been doing has been for 13 years, and he has an ability to do it another 3 or 4 years at a very, very high level. So we can't just say, oh, well, we have a dynasty, because the dynasty can be gone very, very quickly. Oklahoma City, they had a dynasty set up. They had Russell. They had KD.
But don't you guys feel like there's multiple storylines now?
I do. Again, I just go back to we've seen high-impact NBA players. Magic, Larry, Michael had more impact on average sports fans than LeBron James. And I do think the league will be fine with Steph Curry and these other guys coming up behind
All right, Cavs coach Ty Lue had some advice for LeBron. Come out more aggressive than you did in Game 1. That shouldn't be too hard. In Game 1, LeBron didn't take a shot until 10 minutes into the first quarter, the longest he's ever gone without shooting to open a playoff game. Today, the King was asked about his team's chances of advancing to this next round.
I can't think about advancing. I'm thinking about tonight, what my job is, how I can help change the game, help affect the game. Try to be as dominant as I can, but I can't. I don't ever think about advancing. I think it's too much karma for the basketball guys. I don't play with the guys like that.
Whitlock, you expect a crushing by the Cavs tonight?
No, the question is, do I expect LeBron to crush the Pacers tonight? And no, I don't. Now, the Cavs may. I think because LeBron could put up 50, but if he doesn't get some help, it's not going to happen. And so his supporting cast has to deliver for him. Somebody has to come along with it. They had it with Kyrie Irving when they won a championship. He needs a number 2 and probably a number 3. So I just don't. I've seen LeBron with some help from his supporting cast, particularly in his prime, just destroy the Pacers, embarrass them. Good Pacer teams. I don't think he can do it single-handedly tonight.
We think we've overvalued. Listen, the Lakers were better at the end of the year without Nance and Clarkson. The Jazz were better without Rodney Hood. We have overvalued these players. I don't think his supporting cast very good.
Well, I think they are good. I just think with the scrutiny that is going to be put on them and the amount of time that they have to acclimate to the system, playing with LeBron, playing under with this amount of attention, it's difficult, and it's not for everyone, and it takes a little bit of time, which they don't have time. And you look at it, Kevin Love is in a new role. Kevin Love is now the number 2. Kevin Love is now in a position where it's like, hey, we need you to score no matter what. And Bron has situations that no one else has. He has to go out there, score 25, and make sure his number 2 gets good looks. Make sure everyone else around him gets good looks. He has to facilitate that entire offense. Kevin Durant doesn't have to do that. Steph Curry doesn't have to do that. He has another guy in Kevin Durant that can go make shots. James Harden doesn't have to do that because Chris Paul can go out there and facilitate. Chris Paul doesn't have to do that because James Harden can also go out there and facilitate and also score points. So he is one of the lone individuals, one of the lone superstars that has to go out there and do everything at all point in time for his team to be successful. And if they don't, it all falls on him.
Look, I think LeBron will have a big game. I don't expect 50 or even 40. I'm thinking 36-ish, somewhere between 32 and 38, nearly a triple-double. His supporting cast, it's not awesome, but it's as good as Darren Collison, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner. I mean, what Indiana's got.
Yeah.
So they should be able to beat this Pacer team. And so I think they'll come out and win this game. I still expect them to win this series and the Eastern Conference.
Richard said something that I want to follow up on in terms of the supporting cast handling this situation, the pressure of playing with LeBron and being the focus of all this conversation. Not everybody's built for it.
No.
And I'm wondering, I don't want to put you on the spot because I already know Chris's answer. I heard him this week. Ty Lue, can he handle it?
Well, I think T. Lue can handle it. I think the amount of players, and again, this is a new situation. When you had the big three, Bron, Kyrie, and Kevin, and then you had a bunch of very, very good chess pieces. You had myself, you had Shump, you had JR, you had Channing Frye. You had a bunch of chess pieces that, if you want to play small, okay, we're going to go with Richard and Bron at the 4. You want to play big and play with multiple bigs, and okay, then we're going to play Channing Frye and we're going to play with Kevin and we're going to spread the floor out. Some of those chess pieces, aren't there, and guys that are playing, Hood, Clarkson, those are the individuals that need to step up. You need someone to be able to go and score Jeff Green. You need to go 16 to 18 points. You need someone to give you a double-double. You need energy. You need defensive stoppers. Those are what you need, and it's game one. Where they didn't shoot the ball well, they're going to shoot the ball better, but it's a matter of whether or not they can stop guys.
I would have liked to have seen him, and I still would like to see him start Jose Calderon and Larry Nance Jr. because Nance Jr. brings the energy you talked about. Calderon isn't a great individual player, but his chemistry is great with them. His basketball IQ is high. They're 23-9 when he starts. So I think he should be playing.
I'll go to this one more time. I have the exact number. We know they've matched up really well with Toronto. And last year, when they played Toronto and had to shut them down, Jason, they just did. In the last 2 times Cleveland's played Toronto, they've won the game, and you felt like they were in control. Toronto's averaged 117.5 points. Listen, this Cleveland team, all the LeBron teams they've ever been on, there were moments when you thought he's squeezing the team out. This Cleveland team, they can't stop anybody.
But defense wasn't their problem in game 1. I mean, they held 98 points. You should be able to win.
But to your point about defense, what are your thoughts on Tristan Thompson not playing until the end of that game?
Well, I think he was out of the rotation. I think Larry Nance has been giving them a big boost. I don't know how healthy Tristan's knee is. Tristan had that long stretch of games where he didn't miss any. And so, but I would not be surprised to see a J.R. Smith, in the starting lineup, a Tristan Thompson now getting a chance. Guys that have been in this fire, guys that have been in these moments. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of these guys playing a little bit more. Even a guy like Kyle Korver, who didn't play very many minutes. He was coming off, I think, a minute restriction. To see Kyle Korver playing and having an impact very, very early in these games. I think in these moments you start to say, okay, we're going to go with guys that have been in this fire, and everyone else, the Clarkson, the Jeff Green, the Ronnie Hood, the Larry Nance, we're going to have you guys earn your way in. Okay, we're going to have you guys kind of fight your way in, and let's see what you can give us, because I'm going to go with guys that have been in this fight before.
Richard, you don't have to dwell on this long, but I got to ask. Tristan Thompson, the Kardashian controversy, any impact in that locker room?
No, I think everyone's too focused. If anything, you're all brothers. And when your brother makes a mistake or a family member makes a mistake, you support him. You don't just, I don't know who that person is. I think you look at, Aaron Hernandez situation in the Patriots, right? When there was that distraction that went on, the Patriots just went on about their business. Now, I understand he wasn't in the locker room, but look, Tristan just had a daughter, right? And anybody that's ever been in a relationship, it's like, look, we're going to focus on this child. And Tristan's a young kid. I don't know the full details of whatever happens, but I know as a brother and having 2 older brothers, if someone makes a mistake or if someone does something wrong, I'm not going to stand on a pedestal and I'm not going to just cast them away. I'm going to be like, look, we're in this with you. We'll support you, whatever you need. And sometimes you put a guy like that on the court, the distractions kind
Best
of,
place
it's
for
the
him.
best place for him. Put him out there in the court. Let him go. To have the Cleveland fans boo him when he first checks into the game, a city that he helped win a championship. That's tough. Going back to Kobe's situation that happened. Remember how great Kobe played when he was, under criticism for some things that had happened in his life, and he overcame them. And he played great because that was his refuge. That's how he got away.
All right, welcome back. Super Bowl champ Trent Dilfer. Here joining us, founder of the Big League, Jason McIntyre. Here we go. Latest development in Colin Kaepernick's collusion lawsuit against the NFL. Yesterday, the commissioner, Roger Goodell, was deposed in the case while Kaepernick was reportedly in attendance. The free agent quarterback is accusing the NFL owners of conspiring to keep him out of the league over his protest during the national anthem. Whitlock, you think Kaepernick's NFL career is officially over?
Yeah, when you sue your employer and then depose the guy they're paying $45, $50 million a year to run the league, you're saying to everybody, I don't want to play football. I want to fight the NFL. And so the NFL pays quarterbacks from, I guess, $1 million the low to 20 some odd million. Those are great high-paying jobs. And they're not used to getting sued when they get a quarterback. We pay you $15 million and now you're suing us. So yeah, Colin Kaepernick doesn't want to play in the NFL. He wants to be a martyr. And so do his supporters have talked him into the benefits of being a martyr and a victim.
And I'll just throw this out there. We have 7 to 8 new quarterbacks coming in the league in 10 days. And a couple of them are really good. So that means those Brandon Whedons they may find themselves struggling to find that backup job. So it's not like it's a dire year. We're going to have 7 new guys, meaning there's some guys that have already been in the league, unbelievably coachable, have won some games. They're going to lose jobs here. I don't think there's many spots open.
The best part of my life for last calendar year was not being on TV and not having to talk about this. I would watch you guys, my friends, my colleagues for 9 years have to go over this conversation every single day. And it was painful to watch. I think I processed it like this. I think Colin has 2 things going against him. One isn't fair, one is fair. The unfair part, and I agree with your sound leading into the segment, is an NFL organization doesn't want an activist. They want a quarterback. Okay, and he is viewed by the country more now as an activist than a quarterback.
No question.
Right or wrong, that's how he's viewed. The fair thing that he has going against him is his tape is bad. The last year of tape is bad. He had the yips. I've had the yips. I've had him throwing and I've had him putting. He couldn't throw it from here to the camera towards the end accurately. He was so locked up as a quarterback. He just wasn't, the tape doesn't lie. And to get through the activist part to the football part, you then have to battle that last year of tape, which isn't very good either.
For people that just caught up in 16 TDs, 4 interceptions, explain what you're
Chip
talking
Kelly, college offense, pick and stick, put it in the belly, guy runs a sweep, he pulls it out, the guy's wide open, he kind of floats one out there. There was some good, there was some bad. But when it became graduate level quarterbacking, and I tried to show this my last year I was on ESPN with all the telestrations, when he had to read a coverage and when number 1 was covered and he had to reshift his eyes and reshift his motion somewhere else, he couldn't hit anything. It was disastrous. Now, I like Colin, and I think he does deserve a chance to get back to the NFL. But he's got to, that's the mind's eye of the evaluators watching footballs. They're watching those 3rd down clips going, well, there's really no value there if we don't run a college-style offense where we threaten the defense with his great athleticism and throw to wide open guys. And that's not the NFL game on 3rd down.
See, I would largely agree with that, Trent. But when I think back to Tim Tebow, okay, he was out of the league for several years. He was on the SEC network. Again, not a great quarterback. Colin Kaepernick accomplished more than Tebow did. And Tebow was called in by Chip Kelly to the Eagles. Let's bring him into camp. Maybe he's just a camp arm. And I think if Kaepernick can say, hey, you know what, maybe this martyr stuff isn't for me, or all of a sudden this lawsuit fails, he's only 30. I think he's still got a 2-year window where if he says, you know what, I want to go back into football.
Remember what everybody else says. Tebow also didn't get back in because
he didn't, yeah.
Tim, it was what came with Tim. It was bigger than the football.
Yes.
It was all this external stuff that he couldn't control. Colin's unfair. Again, it's unfair to Colin. If Colin said, I'm not doing this, I'm a football player, I'm all in, I'm going to sleep, eat, do everything football, it still wouldn't matter. Because the perception is that he stands for something bigger.
And that's what he has to do first. He's got to say, I'm over this martyrdom. I'm not going to be an activist. Let me remind you guys, Seattle brought in Austin Davis and Stephen Morris.
Yeah.
Again, they're football players. But that's who Kaepernick could be competing with for a camp spot. That's why I think if he changes his mind, I think he's got a shot.
By the way, it's not that you can't be political. Michael Bennett is polarizing and political. The two teams that wanted him were New England and Philly, and he went to Philly. By the way, Malcolm Jenkins, if Russell Wilson took a knee, I think a lot of it is tape. Listen, you can't tell me the league won't embrace political people. Michael Bennett got caught up in a firestorm. And by the way, the two best teams in the league went after him. Malcolm Jenkins, Chris Long. If the tape's good, this league has a history.
His tape was great. If it was back to when we went to the Super Bowl and he was playing at a Pro Bowl level and that system, he was really good. If that was the last tape people saw, he'd be in the NFL. The problem is the last tape they saw, especially in those critical moments, isn't worth the risk of bringing, from an NFL perspective, worth the risk of bringing all the other stuff along.
All right, to the NFL draft, which is now just 8 days away, critics have been picking apart former UCLA quarterback and potential top pick Josh Rosen. Many people claim he's too intellectual and that he's got a bad attitude. Well, our man right here, Trent Dilfer, recently came to Rosen's defense. Trent, you said you know Rosen will piss off a lot of people, but that his personality is good for an NFL quarterback. Why do you believe his personality will work in the NFL?
He's a perfectionist. He demands that everybody is held to the same standards he's held to. He's changed a lot from when I coached him at 17. And people also know I coached him at Elite 11. We had a horrible relationship. He didn't like me, I didn't like him. I think we have a very good relationship now, and I think part of that's because I started to appreciate his growth, his maturity. Changed a lot from 17 to who he is now. But more importantly, that personality does fit as a quarterback. If you're the CEO, right, and you're truly carrying the weight of a franchise, why can't you demand from everybody else that they bring their best stuff every day? Why can't you demand that if I'm pushing myself to be great, then you push yourself to be great? And give me the answers to why on all these questions. Because the way it works for a quarterback in the NFL is you sit in a room and you're told a bunch of stuff. And there's the compliant kid that sits there and says, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, I'm going to go do exactly that. Then there's the Aaron Rodgers and the Josh Rosens and the Tom Bradys and the Peyton Mannings and the Drew Breeses. It's a pretty good group, right? Where they say, no, tell me why. Give me the why behind it, then I'll go do it. And I'll do it even better than the guy that just does it because you tell me to do it, because now I understand it. Now that's going to threaten some people because there's a lot of old school football people.
There still are.
Tons of them.
There's a lot of rigid guys in this league.
Just do as I say.
That's my question, Trent.
Yes.
In a perfect world, it would be fine. But there's probably 6 rigid coaches, 3 old schools, and 2 insecures.
Mm-hmm. Oh, more insecures than that. Way more insecures.
Here's my question, though, Colin and Trent. It's just like, when do you ask why as a young quarterback in the NFL? Because I think, like, Peyton Manning is a guy that probably came through the door because of his dad asking all kinds of questions. I think Tom Brady took some time before he blossomed into that guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so that's my question about Josh Rosen. You want to show up 22 years old and the smartest guy in the room? That doesn't work a lot of times unless you're Peyton Manning, and I'm not sure.
He's every bit as talented as Peyton Manning was. In fact, he's more talented than Peyton Manning was. Let's just stop right
That's
there.
a mouthful.
Go back and watch Peyton Manning's college film, and then watch Josh Rosen's college film. It ain't even close in terms of
eras.
it ain't even close in terms of arm talent. Josh Rosen's a better athlete. Josh Rosen arguably has the same football IQ as Peyton. Peyton was put in a position where they gave him the keys and we said, we're going to put the weight of this franchise on you and we embrace who you are. Be a control freak. Take this thing over, and that's what Josh Rosen needs.
I like what you're saying about personality, because all of a sudden smart and wanting to learn and read books, that's frowned upon.
Yeah, how
in
is
the
that a
NFL.
bad
That is
thing?
awful. Come on, I don't want an intellectual
I think
on
you're
my team.
missing it, though.
No, okay,
Because
go
I
ahead,
think
go ahead.
another talent that people never is love of the game is a talent. And Peyton Manning loved the game.
Nobody
and
loves
that's
it
what
more than Peyton.
people start wondering about Josh. Does he love the
So
game?
he loves reading books. He doesn't love football.
Now,
I mean,
at
I don't think it can be
17
one or the other.
Okay, so at 17, I would have absolutely bought into that. 17, my biggest argument was this kid doesn't love football. This kid loves what football brought him. He loves winning. He won as a tennis player. He won at John Bosco. He's won. He doesn't want any more answers. Now, after being broken at 3 years at UCLA and having 3 different offenses he's had to learn, he's been banged up, he's had concussions, he's hurt his shoulder, he's gone through the rigor of what it feels like to actually be a football player, not just the pretty stuff. He's re-fallen in love with football.
And what happens, Trent, when he starts turning from being a cocky kid who we want as a quarterback? We want cocky quarterbacks, the Brett Favre, the Aaron Rodgers, and he starts to rein in the cockiness from reporters. He's not getting cocky with them anymore and talking a big game. Once he starts to do that and can kind of play between the reporters in the locker room, I think he's going to be fine.
I think New
like
York's going to
Rosen
love
a
him.
lot.
I hope he goes to one of these New York teams. I think he will be a massive hit. It'll be great for him. He's a sophisticated kid from a sophisticated family, going to a sophisticated city with all the pressure. I think it's
By the way,
perfect fit.
go watch Aaron Rodgers' tape at Cal. He was mechanical.
Yes, still, I worked out with the McCall. I was the one throwing with him in the summers.
That was the problem.
Not even- yes, I ruined him. You know what it is? He broke away from me and he got good.
All right, time for last call. Cubs star Anthony Rizzo says he's so eager to see the Major League Baseball season shortened that he's willing to take a pay cut if it meant there were fewer games. Cowherd, you think athletes would really take less money to work less?
Absolutely. I really do. I think he's saying something that's obvious. I think the commissioner wants fewer games, but the owners won't relent because that means, 6, 8, 10, 12 parking, money, tickets, gate.
You gotta look, there's some downtown economies built around baseball and having those
A lot of
81
them.
home dates. And so it affects a lot more people. But do I think the players would like to play 120 baseball games and 60 NBA games? Hell yeah.
Jason, doesn't every April in baseball look the same? Like it's played in 28 degrees. I watched the Tiger game yesterday, highlights. There were 900 people in the stands.
All right, to another major change that could be on its way, the NFL has been seriously considering getting rid of kickoffs. Patriots special teamer Matthew Slater says that if the league made that move, it would be, quote, tragic. Colin, you agree?
So does the NFL want to cut employees? There's a lot of people that make the league on kickoff and kickoff returns.
Yeah, I don't know if I need a rule eliminating the kickoff. What I need is for coaches to coach the return men. Why in the hell are they bringing that ball out of the end zone and sacrificing field position? It drove me crazy all year. You get it at the 25 if you don't return the kickoff. These guys are running it out to the 19 and sacrificing 6 yards of field position. So coach the players better and
Listen,
keep the kickoff.
special teams have won playoff games. This would be a reduction of a critical special teams play.
All right, finally, we want to congratulate our colleague, Fox Sports senior correspondent Pam Oliver, who will receive a 2018 Gracie Award for her exemplary contributions in sports. Pam has been a member of the Fox Sports family for more than 2 decades. Congratulations, Pam, on this tremendous honor.
I think she has covered 8 Super Bowls.
She has.
That's as many as Belichick's been in.
Tremendous legacy, great award. Christine Leahy also won this
Yes, she
award
did.
previously. All right,
See you tomorrow.